Hello, everyone. Just hello to anyone who's just joined. We're just waiting a couple more minutes. This is the part where if we were in a physical meeting, we'd have been networking, chatting, moving around the room. Unfortunately, we'll have to make do with silence. My clumsy attempts at filling the silence.
Someone could sing.
Oh, by all means, do. Unless, of course, you want to volunteer, Tamsin.
No. That would drive everyone away, of course. It's nice to see people too.
Yeah. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Aisha, Anna, and yeah, it's difficult to keep track. Okay. So just to say we are, yeah, that's fine. We could on there. Yeah, okay, cool. So we're streaming on Facebook and LinkedIn. Welcome, everyone who's just joining. You are welcome to the Power of You. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you. Well, I can't quite see you, but yeah, good to have you here. Can only see a few people. Well, while we wait, because we've got 3 minutes left, does anybody just want to share how it's been for them so far, so good in lockdown? I might have to do that horrible thing where I pick someone randomly. Yeah, Sarah from Said. You're the first person in my line of sight. I'm just going to take you off. I think everyone can go off mute, can't they? Can you? Oh, it's not good if I've just put the spotlight on you and now you can't even speak. How do I quickly unmute and get everybody to be able to speak when they want to? Right, okay. Try now, Sarah. Do you want to give it a go? See if you can.
Yes, success.
Yes.
There we go. That's my success of the day. First lockdown was like everyone, huge challenge. This second lockdown, it just doesn't feel the same. I've just been to get some essential items from the shop, and just walking around town, there are people out and about and enjoying it was sunshine at the time, but yeah, it just feels so different this time. And I think you kind of just got your head around the last one, now trying to get my head around how this one's working. But yeah. I'm kind of very grateful that I have my work, that my work is still kind of ongoing. I'm working from home with the kids at school, which is obviously a big bonus for me. But yeah, and it's lovely to have opportunities like this to kind of connect with and see you and see the network. So yeah, just about getting through it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. What about you, Aisha? Aisha Zeroki. Have I pronounced that correctly? I'm sorry if I haven't.
Thank you. Yes, you have. Actually, I'm a colleague of Sarah. I'm also from Said. Yeah, I totally agree with Sarah. It's actually the second time around I find it a little bit harder than usual. It's probably the Zoom fatigue that's getting to me, and the lack of perspective of when we're going to come out of this lockdown.
No, nobody seems to know. 2nd of December is the magic day. So let's keep.
Apparently, they're extending it.
Oh,
That's what they're saying. Yeah. Times like these are really nice to see other women, to connect and help each other, really. So thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. Bep, I can see you somewhere. I saw you come into the call. Hi, Bep.
Everybody, great to be here.
How's it been for you during lockdown?
You know me, I always find a positive spin on everything, so I'm just using it to actually just do the things that I never get around to doing. I've got courses galore that I need to finish and complete,
Yeah, I know
things. So there are all these jobs that I still haven't done around the house. So for me, you know, I make time to go out for a walk and to connect, and actually, you know, can surround myself with women that inspire me as well, and make some time for them, and then make the most of it, really, as and when I can.
Yeah, that's all I can do. What about you, Giselle? I can see you somewhere. Hello, Giselle.
Hello, hi everyone.
How's it been for you during lockdown?
It's been interesting. It's been good headspace time actually. So I'm just maximizing that time and trying to keep going, trying to stay positive. So yeah.
Well done. Trying to stay positive. Let me know what exactly you're doing. So I can copy it. Hi, Julie. Hi, Lavina.
Hi, DK, how are you?
Talking about how lockdown has been for everyone and just sharing some experiences. How's it been for you, Lavinia?
It has been challenging because I'm back to homeschooling again. Yeah, but I mean, it's all right. It's all right. It's just, you know, it's using those tools that I try and teach my clients of meditation, mindfulness, going for walks. So that has helped.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll always be times of stress, but I think if you implement those tools, yeah, it's not too bad.
What about you, Lay? Have I pronounced that correctly as well? I think I need to unmute you. Bear with.
I have 3 children, so they're currently back in school, which is really good. But my husband's been working from home since March. So this morning I was saying, oh, it's really weird. Why are you not on calls? Because I'm so used to having all that noise and everything. And he's like, oh, there's a break, no calls this morning. We had the cleaners in actually, but we're back in lockdown. So it's feeling very quiet, you know, generally. So it's nice to go out for walks, but I volunteered to work in one of the schools like on 2 days. Okay. So that's really nice. It's nice. But yeah, today I think I'm feeling a little bit tired and a little bit, yeah, you know. So yeah,
Tamsin, I'm sure Tamsin and Sarah will cheer you up a little bit.
Yeah, thanks.
And what about you, Valerie? How has it been, lockdown 2.0 in the UK? Mindful that not everybody on the call is from the UK, so you might be hearing lockdown thinking we're not on lockdown. We are on some sort of studio 2.0 lockdown.
I feel like a prisoner.
Oh.
I need to break free.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I've made myself in a prison. It's like, I was outside working, I wouldn't work as, you know, I wouldn't be confined as much.
Yeah.
So it's almost like every 23 hours I might do that prison walk.
Break.
Yeah.
All out the walls. Do you know what? Hopefully our time together, even though it's just 90 minutes, will, you know, I certainly woke up this morning, I was really looking forward to just having this conversation with everyone, being, you know, listening to Sarah, listening to Tamsin, and just taking that inspiration wherever you can. So thank you so much, everyone, for sharing that. Just going to quickly share my screen and just share a little bit more about what we've done this year at the network. And then, although this is typically where it goes pear-shaped when I completely forget which screen to share. And as you can see, I've got probably too many screens open. Yes, okay, this is us. So welcome to The Power of You.
And we'll run it through.
It's great to see some
I
think I need to just get used to doing this, muting all participants.
Okay.
So, right, okay,
Yeah.
cool. I think we're all on mute now, are we? Okay, as long as I don't end up muting myself and then it becomes an issue, doesn't it? So Thank you so much for joining. If you're new to the network, this is the Sister Network. We are a social enterprise, and this is the Power of You, our final workshop for 2020. I'm Mala, if you're on the call, kind of just took your picture without license, but yeah. Yeah, so what do? We are a social enterprise, as I said, and we offer free networking and leadership and personal development events like this around the year to different women at different stages within their leadership and personal development journeys. Yeah, so that's what we do. A little bit more information. We have just a little bit over 10,000 members globally, and just trying to pull everyone together with events like this, leveraging community, reminding people that you're not alone, and also offering tangible life skills that can make a difference, whether you're in business or in your career or just, in life generally. That's what we do. And just a little bit about, why we started or how we started. Obviously started in 2016, but we didn't really start running these forums until 2018 to create a different pathway for women to connect with other women and also access leadership development training and personal development, which was typically at the discretion of line managers and personal sponsorship. So we believe that there are amazing women like Tamsin, like Sarah, who are experienced leaders, like Ronke Kokoruwe, who's just joined the call, some of Beth, people who are coaches, or if just women who want to share a story. And it's just a shame not to be able to bring those women to in contact with other women who are dying to meet women like that, just because there are no platforms that facilitate this kind of engagements. So that's really what we do. We're still on our journey, trying to figure it out, listening. If you're subscribed, you always see that we're constantly doing surveys, asking you what matters to you, so that we can bring these events, bring this community to life. So if you do have any areas that you think in 2020 you need to look out, please let us know. Lena Pilecki is on the call. She manages all our events. Beth, myself, and Nika, and I'll show you a little bit more about the team in a minute. So do feel free to chip in, trying to build this community with everybody in mind. In terms of just some of our spotlights for 2020, I'm really, really proud of what we achieved. I'm grateful that Sarah from Sahid is actually on the call. We were able to, with Sahid's gracious and generous support, send one of our members to attend the University of Oxford Women's Leadership Program online. And we believe, just based on the amazing work that Liliana does as the community need for Code Your Future, an organization that helps immigrants to actually gain skills in STEM, especially coding, and use that as a way of breaking out of socioeconomic barriers. And we believe that with that program and the exposure, the knowledge, the insights, and the networks that she will leverage, she'll be able to go back into the wider community and create a ripple effect. But in terms of something that's just really personally really proud of, is to be able to have offered this opportunity to one of our members. Really proud as well to be able to connect the African continent into our network and start to work with some grassroots organizations. And if you're subscribed, and if you aren't, please subscribe to our website. You'll find a little bit more about some of the things that we'll launch in the next couple of weeks around the Arise Africa Fund that we want to use to support grassroots organizations helping women within the continent. And I think Lilian Debo is on the call. She's one of our very, very early organizations that we supported, who help. I think our organization helps people, especially women with disabilities in very impoverished communities. So just really proud of the community and what we've been able to do, even in this, crazy 2020 that we found ourselves. A little timeline looking back, I know it feels like a lifetime ago, but Arise was this year. If you were at Arise, I hated to break it to you, it wasn't last decade, it was actually this year in January. And then we launched our global forum, opening our network up to global members. We ran Rebuilding in a Crisis with the incredibly brilliant Ronke Kokoruwe and Sarah from Unleash Today. Then we ran the NatWest Business Accelerator with the NatWest team, Yvonne Greaves, Shania. And then we launched in Africa, as I said, with just almost 300 women, launched a network within the continent with the support of the Oxford Africa Business Alliance and the University of Oxford, actually, and Gaiman Asma law firm. And yeah, we've got a lot of things sort of plan next year for Africa and just trying to leverage community where we can. And then we're closing off with the power of you. And I just can't, think of a better way to close this year off than with Tamsin. It was just an absolute support system. And with Sarah, and I'll introduce Tamsin later on, so let me not put on the spot just yet, but it's coming, Tamsin, brace yourself. So in terms of just saying thank you to our partners, thank you so much again to Saïd Business School, University of Oxford. Unbelievable support across everything that we do within the network, just being such a massive advocate. We talk about allyship a lot and we talk about mentoring, but it's very, very crucial as well that we have sponsors, people that actually say, beyond the verbal support, beyond the rooting for you, here is an opportunity, here is access. And I think that we just really value what we have with Saïd. Great thanks to Innovate UK support our work, especially around linking us with opportunities around the continent, around Europe, and just supporting, being a really, really big advocate of the network. I don't think Mata is on the call, but if you are, thank you so much. And obviously, finally, thank you to NatWest. If you're a member of the network, I'm sure you've heard enough of NatWest. Shania and Yvonne, heavily involved. Yvonne Greaves is the head of Women in Business in NatWest, but she's so heavily involved in the network, and we're just really, really grateful to continue this relationship and the incredible support that we've received to really help people from different parts of the country and the world. And of course, thank you to the Dream Team. Can we give a virtual round of applause to the Dream Team? Thank you so much to Nika, who I don't think could join us today because she's working. She's got a full-time job as a finance manager at Vodafone. She's got her own business and she still manages to be the head of operations at the Sister Network, keeping all the lights on, making sure that we, when I make terrible decisions, she's there to say, right, stop it. And of course, the incredible Lena, who's new to the team, was really taking on organizing our calendar, our program of events for 2021. And I'm really, really excited. She's so disciplined and such an experienced events manager. Lena is actually available for work, so I'm going to plug her now. If you need an events manager within your organization, it doesn't get any better than Lena. And of course, Bep, what can I say? Bep is more than even just a colleague at the Sister Network. She's like a sister to me, and she's just been a support system, being there for the network, helping to shape events, hosting events, doing all the running around behind the scenes to make sure that everything works well. And of course, an absolute thank you to Juliana, who you may not know, but she's the one who says, hey, sisters, on our social media. She's the one who's doing all of the social engagement. And so when you get stuff coming out from us, it's usually from Juliana. She's just so creative, very proud of Juliana's achievements in lockdown. She finished a undergraduate degree in media with a first class with a focus on intersectionality and identity. And I'm just really, we're growing our volunteer team, but this year it's been down to this incredibly, talented and generous women who have really supported us. So all of the speakers, if I don't get to come back and do a proper vote of thanks, thank you so much to everyone who's volunteered in one capacity or the other. And of course, thank you for showing up, for being part of our community, a very diverse, global, beautiful, brilliant group of women who just turn up every time to lift each other up. So thank you from my end. It's been a difficult year, but I have to say that one of the things that has kept me going has just been the sense of purpose and the love that I felt from everyone. The times that have been really, dark and just, full of worry and all of that, just having someone to lean on, someone I can call, so thank you for the likes, for the shares. It may look like it doesn't matter, but trust me when I say every absolute little really does help in making our lives a better place to live, and of course achieving your dreams. And I hope that you'll stick with us, that you subscribe, that you look out for the calendar of events for next year, as we try to strengthen ourselves as well and to offer more of what can help women really, really take the leap. We'll be launching the Sister Leadership Program later on next year as well, which is something that Bep and I are currently co-designing, and we'll send you more information when that launches. But thank you so much. Thank you. Just wanted to say thank you. I spent all afternoon saying thank you, but then Tamsin's gonna get really pissed off because it took her time, and the last thing she wants to hear is me to say thank you. And now to Tamsin. I've known Tamsin for a couple of years now. She, I call her a coach, even though actually not, you know, a coach, but it's just because she, the way that she relates, you know, the way she empowers, not just me, you know, from a selfish point of view, but from other women within the network that have benefited from Tamsin's knowledge and wisdom. She's the CEO of Raw Talks Academy, that, you know, is really focusing on helping women to break out of self-imposed, you know, beliefs that hold us back. One of the classic Tamsin lines that I remember is just, action breaks, you know, inaction. Yeah. So the only way to get over stuff is to just do stuff and get over it. And I know she's got a lot more where that came from. So it brings me a lot of joy to close 2020, the craziest year of my entire life, by, you know, handing over the stage to none other than the amazing Tamsin. Hello, Tamsin.
Wow, what a wonderful introduction. My goodness, thank you to the most inspirational woman. And I'd like to call you a friend as well, which you are. And it's actually more than 2 years. So thank you, Duque. Wow, what a great way to, I see some familiar faces. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just do this. We're going to give ourselves a really lovely hug, okay? And there's a reason for this. It's not just for us to look stupid, okay? We're going to actually give, and just give yourself, just touch and feel and stroke your shoulders. Whew. Okay, I can't see you all, but I'm just wondering how you're feeling, because that is the cuddle hormone. Yeah, that maybe if you haven't got anyone to cuddle or cuddle you at home and you're on your own, like me, yeah, that can actually release oxytocin and help us to feel slightly better. There are other ways of doing it, I'm sure, but that's one way to start off this this session today. Lovely to see you all, and thank you again to Duque for this opportunity. You know, I am so inspired by everyone that I have met in this, but you know, I do understand that, like me, you know, I can't see everybody, and it's so disappointing, because this is the kind of place that you want to network and connect. And I get it. It is the one thing that I miss most of all, and it's really caused me some huge anxiety. But I am here today to want to give you some value, okay, to go away with 2020, really get some power behind this year into next year. And I'm going to give you some high level stuff, okay, because 45 minutes is not a long time to shove this down you, to try and get you to any lasting change. But, you know, I'm excited about the stuff that I'm going to share with you. And if you want the slides, and you want to contact me, I'm on LinkedIn. If you want the slides, contact me on Tamsin at rawtalksacademy.com. The website's rawtalksacademy.com, which has just gone live. And at the end, I'm going to give you something really special as exclusive to Sister. Okay, so I'm really excited. I'm going to share the screen now. My technology skills are not brilliant, but I'm going to give it a go. Okay, so if I get cut off, just talk amongst yourselves. All right. Okay. And has that worked? Okay, so here we are. So welcome to the power of you. Now, when I reflect on this year and the impact it's had, really at a very human level, it reminds me of someone I saw on stage, and it went like this. He said, life is not like une assiette de viande avec les légumes et les pommes de terre. Life is like a bouillabaisse. And for your English, it's a stew. It's everything is all together. I'm standing there thinking, why is he speaking with a French accent when he's English? Now, that was the first thing, but he got the message across. And you're probably why I am too. But anyway, that's another story. But he got the message across. And actually now, that was 20 years ago. Now it's more relevant, isn't it, than ever before. You know, life is like a stew at the moment. You can't just shut the door and leave your home and go into work. In fact, in Zoom right now, we are reaching in and invading your homes as well. You know, and some of us might be wanting to get out of that, desperate to get out of that hot stew pot. Yeah. And some of us may be thriving on it. I do get that too with COVID, what I call COVID reappraisal. We have, some of us, kind of reappraised the important things in our lives and prioritized our home and our family. And I get it, but one thing is for sure. I believe that we have lost our sense of humor, some of us. Okay, so who's got children here? Who was once a child? So you might know what I mean when I show you this. I can see some smiles. You know what? I have a 16-and-a-half-year-old son, and actually that is how I look, not him. Okay, so I get it. So if I asked you, how are you today? Right? How many of you would say, I'm fine? And we all know what that means, don't we? Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Yeah? Or maybe the other version is feelings inside not expressed. That was me. In fact, there was both of me. I grew up with not being able to express myself. And this lockdown and this whole situation has really given me the opportunity to use the techniques. But I've always struggled with me and finding my voice. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about that. So I do get it if you're feeling hopefully slightly refreshed that you're not alone, okay? So if mental lockdown to you is equal to, if you like, mental jail, and I heard someone saying, I feel I'm in a prisoner, you know, this is about how to break out of mental jail, okay? You know, if I asked you, how are your team feeling? How are your colleagues feeling? You know, you may be saying the same thing. But how do you know? How do we know? Because in this Zoom world, we can't reach out and really get behind the mask, can we? And to find out, actually, perhaps there's probably a lot of anxiety, uncertainty, stress. Yeah, would that be fair to say? So I'm going to be focusing a little bit more on this and how to overcome and break out of mental jail, okay? For you to, and give you a few tools. And I found myself several years ago in what I call solitary confinement. I put myself there. I had a nervous breakdown. I suffered from anxiety and panic attacks. So if anybody there is feeling that way, I absolutely know how you are feeling right now. And what I just say to you is you have a beautiful mind, but you must not live there. Because most of us are sort of spending most of our time in our minds. And I'm going to share a technique, as I said, to get out of mental jail, to break out, and that's going to be at the end. And today I'm going to give you a few other ideas, you know, really high level. But what's this got to do really with the power of you? I'd say it's everything to do with the power of you. Looking at this stuff, because this is about tapping into the power in you, because we need to start looking forward into next year, don't we? And they say that when adversity hits, expand. Yeah, you may be saying, it's okay for you to say, but actually we need to be able to flip our minds into something more positive. And Bep, as she says, is a very positive person. And this technique I'm going to give you will help you to what I call mind judo, which we'll go into now. So what has brought you here today? Oh yeah, there we go. To get out of your mind. I don't mean alcohol or drugs or anything like that. By the way, this is going to turn opportunities into, or turn ideas into opportunities and make change really happen. So why are you here? And I can't hear you and I can't see you much. And in the normal circumstances, I kind of get a really good sense. So I'm just going to make some guesses here that perhaps you're feeling stressed out. Perhaps you're thinking, I'm not being noticed. I'm not being promoted. I've got a great idea and I really don't know how to get it off the ground. Perhaps I don't have the confidence to really get myself out there. You know, raise your hand. And for people I can see, raise your hand if you know that you have more going for you than you are showing right now. Yeah? Oh, 2 hands. Okay, thank you. You know, raise your hand again if you just know that you'd be unstoppable if only you could take the handbrake off. Yeah? Yes. Yeah, I can see that. You know, today is going to talk about, building real confidence, having real influence, inspiring real change in ourselves and others. Yeah. So for you aspirational women, You know, if we want to get ahead in life and we're going to focus on the future, we want to get ahead, we want to be seen, we want to get heard. Yeah, we need to speak up. So here I am, year 2000. It's got to be me. It should have been me. I'm gutted. Not for him, for me. He's standing there winning the biggest deal that the company has ever won. And I am gutted. Why? Because a few months earlier, when we were asked as a sales team, who'd like to pitch for this business? This was the dot-com world. Do you know what I did? I hesitated. And in that moment of hesitation, I called the CDs, the creeping doubts. Has anyone had that? Came flooding in. I was like, I don't know whether I've got what it takes. Am I ready for this? Am I going to screw up and humiliate everybody if I do? And in those few seconds, Ian's hand went up. He didn't think. He just put his hand up, followed his instinct. And there he is, winning the biggest piece of business. You know how much that opportunity that I lost cost me? £20,000 worth of commission every single month for a year. And that was the year 2000. So as you can see, now, do I still hesitate? Sure. Do I still miss opportunities? I do, but not so many. Yeah, because I have learned how to overcome those doubts, those fears, that procrastination, that hesitation, to push through and to seize opportunities. And I'm not just saying seize when they come by, but to seek opportunities. So I'm going to be talking to you too about seeking opportunities. That's how, and this is why I am here today. This is how I became the host of the Women in Business Awards, because the business magazine didn't even know they needed someone until I approached them. I had just suffered a breakdown and the only way out was up. And I launched myself to speak to the owner of the business magazine, and the rest is history. But I sold him on the fact that he needed me. So we can seize opportunities, they come by, but you know what we need to do in 2021 is seek them. Yeah, because there are a lot of people looking for opportunities. Okay, so this was, if you like, what Anthony Robbins, oh yes, and you have a voice, and I found mine, of course. It's called a breakthrough moment. A moment in time when everything changes, when the impossible becomes possible. And for me, this was a breakthrough moment. Yeah. So my question to you is, how many opportunities have you missed or are missing, or are your team missing? It becomes a habit now for me to put my hand up, speak up. Sometimes maybe I shouldn't. So, because you're not sure, because your fear of failure, because you don't want to take risks, you know what we need to do is, if you want to expand, you need to step out of your comfort zone. Now, I know you probably know that, because a comfort zone is a beautiful place to be, but nothing grows there. And comfort is the enemy of progress. So who here wants to grow and wants to progress? I'm sure that if you're on this call today, that is one of the reasons why. And I got people going, yes, me. And you know that you want that promotion. You know how that you've got those ideas. They're locked up inside, and they're no good locked up inside, are they? They need to come out. We need to raise our profile. You want to have impact. You want to make a difference. You want to be a more influential leader. Perhaps that's the reason. Yeah. Now, so my question to you is, are you waiting for someone to ask you to dance? You know, this takes me back to school, to, you know, maybe this is one of the reasons why women hold themselves back, you know, because we were the ones always being asked to dance, you know, in the school prom or whatever it is. Now, we need to start asking other people to dance. We've got to stop asking. We've got to stop waiting to be asked. Isn't that true? We've got to stop waiting until we're noticed, until someone says, yes, Yes, come and do business with me. Here's a promotion. Yeah. Stop waiting until all the lights turn green. Stop waiting until you're perfect, because after all, have no fear, says Salvador Dali, of perfection, you'll never reach it. So true. And I believe that, perfection is a feminist issue. And we have made an absolute master. We become masters of it. We made an art of it. Yeah, we've got to stop hesitating, ruminating, overthinking, over-analyzing, all the stuff that we love to do. And how do I know? Because I do the same crap to myself. All right? I do it all the time. And a partner in a law firm said to me, when she offers a woman a promotion, she thanks me. And when I offer a man a promotion, he negotiates. Why on earth do we do that to ourselves? By how much do we undervalue ourselves? Well, Institute of Leadership and Management says women ask for 30% less salary than men. We've got to just get over ourselves, I think. And men initiate salary negotiations 4 times more than women. And men are generally promoted faster than women. And Sarah has raised her hand. Does that mean would you like to, Aduke, to find out if we've got a question or a comment? And by the way, these are things that I tend to. I'm always never going to generalize, because there are women, of course, who don't go down that route. I'm generalizing. So did we have a question?
Just having a look. Bear with.
I'm going to just carry on until
Carry on, and then I'll try to sort.
Okay, I'm just going to carry on until you stop me. So here's the thing. Remember, men often are judged. I say often, and this is what I've heard. Are judged on their ability, judged on promotion, on their potential, whereas women tend to be judged on their track record. That's not me saying this. This is somebody else. And I kind of asked myself, why is that? Why is that we do that? Well, my thinking is that we do this to ourselves. Men judge themselves on their potential. And women, we tend to often judge ourselves on our track record. And when we look back, we don't always acknowledge our achievements as much as we should and what we have going for us. So, we are very good at deflection of recognition, of success, and we take personal ownership of failure. We tend to, and men often do the opposite. So I think we kind of set the scene to say why we shouldn't, why we should free ourselves up. We just got to get over ourselves. And again, this is why women don't ask. We talk about the imposter syndrome. Now, why the focus? Because men do have the imposter syndrome, but men tend to have what somebody described to me, and this was a man who said this, as the sod it button. Okay, I love this because this describes most of the people I come across when I say this. Men tend to have more of a sod it button, and what we are needing to do, as women, is to find more of our sod it button. And I'm going to do that today. I'm going to share with you a way of accessing your sod it button, okay? So for many aspirational, we need to do that. So we have to start, and you have to start realizing you have absolutely more going for you than you can possibly imagine. And I'm coming from a place where I've struggled with confidence all my life. And so I've made it a mission of mine to understand it, to break it, to crack the code, and to help other women liberate themselves from their self-imposed limitations. And as somebody said to me, women need to build a bridge to get over themselves. And as Helena Morrissey says, I'm going to dive in and give it to you straight. We as women should be succeeding more in spite of ourselves. So, but it takes courage, doesn't it, to start. And courage starts with showing up and allowing ourselves to be seen. And I don't mean just on screen. I'm talking about speaking up, to find our voice, to be seen as who we are, not who we think we should be. So here's the thing. This is what I've distilled it in the years of experience, not just from my struggles and my achievements, but the DNA that I have gleaned from lots of women who are successful, people like Aduke, but the DNA that runs through them. I have looked at this and I have distilled it into 3 areas. If we want to be seen, we want to get heard, we want to get ahead and progress, we need to master these 3 things. We need to master the area first, okay, of ability to inspire others. Now, what do I mean by inspire? What is inspiration? Okay, inspiration. Now, normally I kind of go, okay, in the chat box, tell me, you know, put in the chat, what do you think inspiration is? For those who know me, who've been on one of my sessions, you've probably got the answer, but what is inspiration? Not what it does, what is it? Anybody? Nobody? Okay, I'm going to let you into a secret. It's an emotion. It is an emotion that moves people to do things that they wouldn't otherwise do. Bear Grylls climbed Mount Everest because he had a picture of it on his wall when he was a child. He was inspired. You know, we have, look at Sir Tom Moore. He was inspired by what the nurses were doing. And in return, he inspired the world, a nation.
So you've got some responses come through.
Okay, so what, to shout them out.
Energy, being yourself, doing something with passion, a push to do more.
Lovely, I love all that. It is all about push to do more. Absolutely, it gives us that push. When we watch a movie, we listen to someone speak, we go to a sporting event or watch someone. How many people have gone, right, that's it, I'm going to go and start running, I'm going to the gym, yeah? But what happens sometimes, yeah? It can fizzle out, and I'll come back to that, but how we can keep that sustainable, yeah? How we can keep that inspiration sustainable. If we can't inspire others around us, they are not going to follow us. They're not going to buy from you. They're not going to buy into your ideas, to buy into who you are. Yeah, they're not going to follow. So we need to be, because inspiration ignites the inner desire to change something, either in ourselves, in others, or in our circumstances. So who do you want? Oh yeah, and this, I love this, because this is it for me. If there's nothing else you take away today, I'd say inspiration is the beginning, the middle, and the end. If you can learn to inspire others. Now, how on earth do we inspire others? Well, who do you want to inspire, for example? I personally, yeah, there are lots of people I want to inspire. I want to inspire my son. Who wants to inspire their children? Since this is a stew, yeah, we're talking about her whole life. And I can tell you now from the bottom of my heart, when my son phoned me the other day and said, Mum, keep going because you inspire me. It just made me realize I was doing, excuse me, something right. Something right. And you know what I was doing? I was pushing myself through my fears of all the things. And believe me, you know, we can look at people and say it's all right for them. They've got it all sussed out. Yeah. But believe me, we are all, and that's what this wonderful community is about. So who do you want to inspire? Perhaps the first, or who inspires you? And what is it about them that inspires you? You know, but the first person we need to inspire is ourselves. Would you agree? Yeah, we need to be our own inspiration. Why? Because when we've left that talk, when somebody's inspired us, inspired the socks of us to go and do something, when we leave them, what happens? We're left with ourselves. And maybe you don't inspire yourself. Yeah, maybe the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves are the foundations to our confidence. And so maybe we're not telling our story in the right way. Maybe, you know, we don't feel that we're enough. And wherever you go, there you are. So you have to kind of like yourself a lot. So here's the thing. One of the processes that I take people through, and I'm just going to touch on this now, is the ability to become our own inspiration. And in turn, guess what? We inspire others. By default, it is a natural cause and effect. And this 5-step process touches on What is it that drives you? The rocket fuel, your purpose. You know, a power of the past. What of our achievements are recognizing for the first time, perhaps, what you've achieved, where we are today in the present, our values, what do we stand for now? And the potential, looking forward and taking the lid off this glass ceiling that does not exist. And then the final thing, the most important, I guess, is to be able to prove it to ourselves and to prove it to the people around us. That's what inspiration is all about. So I get quite passionate about it because it is a discovery process, by the way. It's not something that can happen overnight. It is about discovering what on earth we have going for us and reminding ourselves. For a lot of us, we've forgotten. You are your own best kept secret. And you are, when you realize the traits of successful women, you must realize that you are your own competitive edge. We don't have to lead like men. We lead like a woman. It's about being yourself. And people say, being myself, what does that look like? It's tapping into the authentic self, being vulnerable, just as I have just been, just as you can be. You know, one of the things we've got to realize is that we can have the courage to do this because you're not lucky. And you've got to stop apologizing for being you. And you're not, I don't feel I'm beating everyone up here, but actually, I hope this sort of resonates because I understand and how it is. You're not lucky, you are amazing. So what has this got to do with influence? The second part that we need to master in our ability to get ahead, to have progress, is first to inspire others and the ability to then influence others. How do we do that? What has inspiration got to do with influence? A whole heap. We've just discussed that, or I've just explained it from a point of view of the impact that you can have, can influence. What does influence mean? The ability to have an effect on the thinking behavior of others. And if we do that just for our children, that, you know, fantastic. But who do we want to influence? And how do we? I'm going to touch on this because we don't have time to go into depth of any of this. But I want to leave you at the end with a tool that you can take away and use to build your confidence. We've got to have the ability to communicate with impact. Yeah? Not to sit on the sidelines. We've got to communicate with impact. When you think of Kamala Harris, I love, as everyone is, you know, gone, wow, what is it about her that enables her to communicate with impact? Well, I can tell you, going back to that self-discovery, she has a purpose. She has a passion around that. She has acknowledged her achievements, and she is clear in who she is now. And she's willing to prove it by speaking up. And she speaks with power. Now, women who talk too much and women who waffle, we've heard of that. Maybe we all do that. We don't have the power. If we think about Kamala, I think I got her name right, maybe, and other powerful speakers, think about how they come across. They're not talking from here. They're talking from the heart. You don't have to dominate a conversation to have impact. And one of the things that I do through my program is to enable women to stand and deliver, to communicate with impact. Isn't that what we really need to do? With passion and poise and presence and speaking heart to heart. So next time you're having a conversation with someone and you want to be noticed, you want to be heard, you want to have a great idea, you have an instinct, is speak from the heart, not the head. Feel it. Don't think it. And you'll be amazed at how powerful people will sit up and notice you, even with a screen. So the final part of what we need to be able to master is the ability to impact change. Because if we can't change anything, if nothing changes, of course, nothing changes. If you want to change some things in your life, I love this. I sent this to my son. You've got to change some things in your life, all right? We know that. but we keep on doing the same things, expecting a different result, and we know what the definition of that is. Yeah. So, and the trouble with change is, I think that says it all, really. Why is that? Because when we are faced with something that's uncertain, scary, new, what do? We hesitate. We doubt ourselves. Yeah. And what does that do? That leads to procrastination. I am generalizing, but who here procrastinates? What does procrastination lead to? It leads to us unchecked. It can lead to worry, stress. And if out of control, I call it a runaway train. Yeah, before we know it, we have let things overwhelm us. And I call it going down rabbit holes of worry. Oh my God, I go down rabbit holes of worry every day, but I have found a way of flipping it, which I'm going to share with you. Okay, so you with me? I can't see anybody. Anybody got any comments? Has anybody read? Can I just have a yes in the chat box for Aduke, just to tell me that you're with me and that you haven't disappeared and that any of this resonates? Anything? Or am I okay. And you're probably saying, but show me how to do this. Okay, so it takes courage. It takes getting out of our comfort zone, and it takes a commitment to our purpose, to something that we really want to do. Because real confidence is built from consistent action. And this is what we're going to look at right now. I'm going to introduce you to the power of 3. Some of you may know this, but it is the simplest, the most powerful tool to get out of our heads, deal with procrastination, overcome stress and worry, smash panic attacks, if you ever worry about things like that and have them, anxiety, to get out, to speak up when you have an idea, to step out of your comfort zone when you feel absolute terror, to do something new, to start a business, to put yourself forward, to ask for that promotion, to pick up the phone to someone. And what about to have that crucial conversation? That when you know you need to say something and you put it off and it creates a real stress. Yeah? This saved my life, I can tell you now. It's science-based, it's a metacognition tool. It was inspired by someone else who wrote this, you probably know, Mel Robbins, who wrote the 5-second rule. But I have created this as a power of 3 for a very good reason. It adds a slightly different dimension to this. So how does this work? When you have an instinct to act on a goal, you have an idea, or you know you should get out of bed, put on your running shoes, that you should do this. When you have that kind of nudge, this is what you do, is you become aware. And step 1 is you pay attention. How do we pay attention? It's a habit. I now immediately know when I have one of those little thoughts that says, I got to get out of bed. This morning, I did not want to get out of bed so early. Yeah, I went 3, 2, 1, which is the second step. 3, 2, 1, and I physically launched myself out of the bed. Not drag myself, I physically launched myself, because the act of 3, 2, 1 engages our prefrontal cortex. It enables you to get out of your thinking before your brain hijacks your idea. Gets out of your head, 3, 2, 1, and if you don't do something, if you don't physically move, nothing happens. Absolutely nothing. And that's the reason why it's 3, 2, 1 instead of someone said 1, 2, 3, because you can go 4, 5, 6, and then roll over and go back to sleep. Okay, this is the most powerful tool for overcoming any fear and procrastination of doing anything. Putting your hand up in a meeting, on Zoom, maybe you have an idea. 3, 2, 1. I have an idea. 3, 2, 1. Put those shoes on. Go running. out of the door. And I physically have this out-of-body experience sometimes where I actually watch myself. Instead of being in my head, I've got myself out of my head into action. So paying attention, let me just reiterate this. How can we pay attention and make sure that we're not on that runaway train before the worry and the anxiety hits? It's a habit. You will know when how you feel. If you start to feel anxious, worry, you have that kind of feeling, you know that a thought has just popped into your head. Have you ever joined the 3 a.m. club, by the way? Us waking at 3 a.m. There are a lot of us. It seems like a lonely place, but there are lots of us there, lying, looking at the ceiling. It's dark, it's cold, and a little thought jumps into our head. And before we know it, becomes a full-blown, we've catastrophized everything. And before we know, we've gone down every rabbit hole in town. And it becomes a warren, actually. And often, I mean, this is how we don't miss opportunities. How many opportunities have you missed because you've hesitated? And 3, 2, 1, move. Now, the physical action. Now, anybody who is a sporting person will know that your physiology can change your psychology. It does. Yeah, physical movement, try it. If you are feeling down, sit up. Now, Anthony Robbins is good at this one, isn't he? Anybody who knows Tony Robbins, he gets you in moving, because we know that our state of mind is affected by our physical state. So this is a powerful, powerful breakthrough formula. It works every single time. Okay. Can I have a time check? I can't hear you, sorry.
You've got about 9 more minutes.
Okay, cool.
Doing
Gonna
great.
rush through this. Okay, so it takes action. This is what Duque was talking about, because your physiology affects your, I'm jumping ahead, you've got to start living in the zone where magic happens. That's outside your comfort zone. That's where life happens. That's where progress happens, yeah? Take one courageous step at a time, because it's all about small acts of courage every single day. And I can tell you now, there was something, okay, so when we talk about the impact we can have, I have been telling my son for months, if not years, about this, okay? And yeah, teenager, not interested. Stop procrastinating of your homework. Do it. 3, 2, 1. Do you know what? Yesterday, he's in Guildford. He's at an academy. He's living down there, 16 and a half. Can he get out of bed? He stays up till goodness knows what time. Anyway, he phoned me. He said, "Mum, it works." he said, "I did your thing." I don't know what my thing was at the time. Your thing. And he said, I counted backwards, 3, 2, 1. He said, I blasted out of the bed. And he said, I've just come out of the shower. He said, I feel invigorated. I said, yes. So this, by action, for us to do it, he's seen me do it. It's not what I said, it's what I've done. And that's how we can inspire our kids, inspire other people, not by what we say. What's the phrase? What you do speaks so loud, I can't hear what you say. Isn't that what our kids will know? And lost my place, but hey, I would say this is how we dare greatly, as Brené Brown says. This is how to feel the fear anyway, as Susan Jeffers says. And this is how, as Nike says, to just do it. It's a 3, 2, 1 move, okay? And it can break the worry habit before it breaks you. And I'm going to whiz through this, because this is probably one of the most important things that maybe you can pick up now to move forward. We catastrophize things, and you're not a worrier. You have a habit of worrying. That's good news. You can break it. And I call it mind judo. It's using the same technique to flip what ifs into why nots. Okay? How many of us have done the what if this happens and what if that happens? And oh my goodness. And what we have to do is flip it. And mind judo is a great analogy, because I came up with it because it just reminded me of my son playing judo, how he flipped his partner, hopefully, on its back. And that's what we need to do with our worry habit. And here it is again. So we physically and mentally move. It is a habit. You have to go 3, 2, 1. Well, what if this happens? Something complete opposite. We have to literally flip it in our mind. It is a muscle that you have to grow. Okay. It is a great tool. You've got to hear yourself worry. The moment you find yourself, what if this happens? Look up, stand up, push yourself forward and say, well, what if it doesn't happen? Yeah. What if actually, and that happened to me recently, and I haven't got time to tell you the story, happened with my son again. I found out that all my worries, 97% of our worries never happen. That doesn't help us, does it? We just have to use this. It's a mental muscle. And I love this, is somebody gave this to me the other day. I've got somebody on my program, and she said, there is freedom waiting for you on the breeze of the sky. And you ask, what if I fall? Oh, my darling, what if you fly? Well, isn't that lovely? So it is about creating a bias towards action, using it over and over again. And no one can give you real confidence. See, this for me, this tool gives you, is the foundation to confidence, real confidence. Because when you start proving to yourself that you can do something, you start to trust yourself, because the definition of confidence, self-confidence, is having trust in ourselves to do something, to be able to cope. Yeah. And by taking action, we prove to ourselves that we can. That's basic, really. And it's about true empowerment, because I really don't believe that anyone can empower you or give you confidence. All this empowerment, we have to grab it ourselves. The only person that can empower you is you, by taking action. Have I beat you up so much now? So, okay, so here we are. Now is the time to lean in, as Sheryl Sandberg. It is time to be brave and be bold. When everyone else, and we're all kind of thinking of the what ifs over the next year, we need to lean in. Why? Because that is where the opportunities are. That is where we'll find out what we're made of. And we'll break through that mental barrier. I can promise you now, anyone who uses this tool to take action will find that they will break through that mental barrier of anxiety, of fear. So here's the thing. If you have enjoyed this, look, I've only had time to touch on this, some ideas. It takes longer to build a habit than just 45 minutes. Okay. And if you want to dig deeper and change and accelerate your progress, I've got something quite special for you. This is about, these things are all part of what I do. Join the Raw Talks Academy. It's a great community, like the Sister Network. There are a lot of women here who are connecting and supporting each other. So here's the thing. Here's my offer, and I'm going to leave you to mull over this. It is a one-off. I promised Aduke that I would share something with you guys that was a one-off. If you want to, and I'm just looking for the chat box here. Chat. Okay. I'm going to put in here my Calendly, if I can. I can't. It's not doing it. There we are. Okay. So this is my diary. Okay. So what I'm going to say to you is there are 3 things that I can offer you today. If you really want to kind of progress you, and you feel this is something that you want to delve into deeper and are willing to invest in yourself, there's a 1-hour coaching call with me, free of charge, for the first 10 people. Okay, for an hour. You just need to take my calendar and just book a time with me. Okay, first 10 people. Now don't worry, if you don't get in that first, then there's a second option, which is I'm going to offer you a half-day workshop, which is the Power of You, a power workshop around this. We delve a little bit deeper. Okay, you go away uplifted, and I'm just going to offer to you £47 inclusive VAT. That is normally £250. Okay, and the final thing is my Power of You 8-week live on live session, which I've currently got going on at the moment, is which, if you want to look online at Raw Talks Academy, see what other people say about it, and look at a little bit more into detail of it. I'm giving over 50% discount on this one. And the reason is because I know that there are a lot of women here who really could and want to work with me on this and want to join this, but don't necessarily have the funds. And I'm opening 6 places in a program of 12 only, okay? And I'll throw in a couple of hours of coaching session with me, all right, plus an ebook as a throwaway. But anyway, this is for anyone who's watching today, anyone who's going to be watching the video, there it is. I won't be offering it again, so up to you. Love to see you, love to work with you. If you just want to find out what it's about, give me a call or drop me a line, but book a time in my calendar, okay? And I'll leave you with that. My email address is tamsin@rawtalksacademy.com. Look at the website if you want to find out more before you speak to me, but don't delay, because, you know, my question to you is, who will hesitate here? Maybe I'll think about it. Yeah, for those who are going to grab the opportunity, you will get your place secure. Just throw that one in.
I can see people already grabbing it.
Who will grab the opportunity? Yeah, there's no commitment. Just come online and chat to me. Yeah, find out if this is something that can benefit you. Okay, just as it has done and is doing for me and so many others. So you'll never regret the opportunities you do take, and this is in life generally. Okay, but you will nearly always regret the ones you don't.
Yeah.
And I'll leave you with this, which is part of that lovely poem by Marianne Williamson, which just says a lot about what we are so frightened of sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tamsin. Can we give Tamsin a virtual round of applause?
Thank you to everybody.
Thank you. And we're not done yet. So we've still got Sarah, who's going to join Tamsin shortly for a panel discussion. I'm just going to quickly give one person a chance to ask Tamsin a question. Does anybody have any question before we go into the next 20 minutes, where we'll invite Sarah Trainer from Amazon Boston. I think it's about 7 a.m. now, so we'll try and wrap it up so that Sarah can get some nap and some rest. Right, does anybody have any questions to ask Tamsin? Although, obviously, if you've got, after this moment is passed, that's fine. Put it in the chat box and I would definitely ask Tamsin. So thank you so much, Tamsin. I mean, every time that you speak, okay, someone has asked the question. Katrina wants to know, what about yourself inspires you, Tamsin? What about you inspires you?
Oh, that's a lovely question. Who inspires me? I have so many.
What about you? What about you do you like that inspires you? What about Tamsin inspires Tamsin?
Oh, about me? About me?
Yes, about you.
Okay. Do you know what? That's a really interesting question. I've never been asked that. What inspires me about me is my, do you know what? And I get quite emotional about this, is my ability to be resilient. Not just resilient, but to know that no matter what happens, I know that I can handle things. I have had to learn that through my journey, and I'm sure everybody else has, but my strength of character, my resilience has inspired me to face up to some things. And yeah.
Wow, that is so powerful. Thank you so much, Tamsin. Right, so we also have with Tamsin for this next session of just some questions. And if you guys have questions, again, put it in the chat box. I'll try to feed those through as we go along. We also have Sarah Trainer, who actually I met through a mutual friend of ours, Jill Murray, who's based in the United States, works for Amazon and runs the Amazon Boss Women Network in Boston, I believe. And Sarah is a technical leader, a mother to a 3.5-year-old, and due in January 2021. So if you want to find out what it feels like to be pregnant during COVID, this is your chance to ask Sarah. Based in Boston, she spent 6 years in Amazon Alexa building an analytics platform to improve the end user experience for users. Prior to joining Amazon, Sarah had technical product management and client delivery roles at Sapient Nitro and Cognizant Technology Solutions. She holds a MS in Business Analytics, a BA in Psychology, and a BS in Business Administration, all from the University of Southern California. Sarah is passionate about encouraging others to be their best, authentic selves, both in their personal and professional lives. She participates in various networks and panels to candidly share her growth experiences, which she calls crucibles, shortcomings, superpowers, challenges, strategies for success, and many more with others. Now, when Sarah was talking to Tamsin and I a couple of weeks ago, we were like, whoa, you are, wow. We both felt speechless for a second there, like, wow. You know, so it just brings me a lot of joy to spotlight and bring to the stage another amazing superwoman. Hello, Sarah, are you still here? Please say yes.
I'm here. Hi. Yes, I'm here.
Introduce yourself to the network.
You did a great job. Nothing else to add. You know, I've been working a while and more recently as a mother, and certainly have some thoughts on how that's impacted both myself and the team that I manage. So right now I manage a team of about 15 people, which is fairly small, and would love to take questions or answer anything that you guys have for me.
Lovely. You are most welcome. So just, you know, to start, I just wanted to, you know, what has been the most important lesson that you've learned during this lockdown? You know, Sarah, I'll start with you first. Tamsin can catch a break.
Sure. Yeah. Tasmin did a great job. She needs a minute to get that water or, you know, other drink. Yeah, for me, I think it's been, you know, a lot of what Tasmin talked about sort of resonates, like the 3, 2, 1, go. So part of the time I feel like I have personally a big struggle to kind of keep going. I feel like I'm slogging through things and everything feels vanilla and the same. You know, I go down from my upstairs to my downstairs. So my normal hour-and-a-half commute to work to sort of like transition and mentally prep is now literally like 30 seconds. So a lot of it is sort of taking into account a lot of what Tamsin already talked about. And then I think for me, it's a little different too as a manager, because I find myself in more of a therapist role and like coach kind of role to the people that I am a direct manager to. So the number of requests I've had to sort of talk to people outside of my direct team has certainly increased since we've gone into various lockdowns in the Boston area. And then certainly for my own team, you know, I'm a pretty vulnerable person and manager, which is not always common in the tech world. And I have found that sort of a lot of the boundaries that I've kept between myself and my team in the past have really gone away, because they are really hurting and struggling and going through things, as am I. So a lot of it's been about sort of breaking down some of those normal barriers and kind of being my authentic self in terms of that vulnerability and being a bit more of a like life coach therapist than just sort of a people manager in a large technology organization.
Yeah, wow, that's brilliant. And just to leaning into what you've just said. So for people who maybe not necessarily manage people, or the people who manage people on the call, what would you advise in terms of when people reach out to you during these really crazy times for some sort of support? What are some other things, you know, just even if it's just one thing that you think, right, think about this if people are seeking support from you at this point in time?
I think just don't be afraid to ask of it, and also don't be afraid to necessarily get queued up. You know what I mean? So like if you ask, people, you know, have a 50-50 chance of saying yes, they'll make time, or no, they won't. And sometimes, as I've kind of noted, I have an influx of women in particular in my organization who are interested in talking to a more senior leader. And sometimes, you know, that does have to be sort of a queue up. So, you know, that's okay too. And I think that's okay to know that people are there to support you and be there for you to kind of talk, but it may not necessarily be instantaneous. So to me, that speaks to also broadening your network. So, you know, signing up for Tamsin's free time and getting, you know, other people like you guys have each other here certainly helps, but don't be afraid to ask.
Don't be afraid to ask. That's really good. Tamsin, we're just going to come over to you now. So during lockdown, what's the biggest lesson you've learned? During 2020, COVID-19, everything.
Okay, the biggest lesson I've learned is to push through. Using this kind of tool. I'll be honest with you. is to not allow your mind to go down a rabbit hole too often. And it's a mental gym that you have to kind of go into, and it's a mental thing, not a physical thing, although physical helps. So yeah, I think, you know, also to reach out to people, and that sounds very obvious, but as Sarah said, you know, don't be frightened to ask for, you know, for help sometimes. And being vulnerable, I know that for a lot of us, we're being really, you know, trying to put on a brave face when all around us, you know, you're on Zoom, and then somebody, you know, that the rice is boiling over and the kids are screaming and fighting behind you, and you kind of, you have to kind of do this. And, you know, actually being honest and vulnerable in the right way with the right people.
And I like what Kistis just said. Just a comment, as a female leader, it's okay to feel scared, unsure, and all these emotions that follows, you know, during this pandemic. It shows you're human and not a robot. You are feeling the same. And I think that's just so perfect, isn't it? We don't have to always put on and you know, try to get it all, you know, appear that we've got it all figured out. Now, one of the reports that, you know, one of the things that, you know, clearly is coming out through some data and early research into the pandemic and its impact is that it has disproportionately impacted women. Probably because, you know, women are primary caregivers. And so, you know, I say that again, generalizing, but often you find that across communities, women are often the, you know, majority primary caregivers to either aging relatives, younger children, or even just, you know, in the community generally. And so balancing working from home or, you know, around the clock, for some people homeschooling, with all of those responsibilities. And also, if you think about even the health sector, the people that are facing, you know, what's they're called, frontline workers. Most times, you know, nurses and carers and caregivers are again women. And then you look into the corporate sector again, people are trying to just kind of, you know, show up online, do what they can, but it's just, in your role, Sarah, what are some of the things that you would kind of recommend to a woman who's feeling, right, okay, this is really tough for me, juggling all of this parts? What would you recommend? Mindful that men are struggling as well, obviously. I've had some conversations with men, so it's not just women, but tailored to women.
I think that's important to keep in mind too. I actually found myself in a reverse situation where, you know, I had a lot of, there were a couple men on my team who were in the primary caregiver role on my team. And so it does definitely go both ways, but I am not going to dispute those data points because it is definitely impacting women more. So for me, you know, I'm a fairly tangible, tactical person. So I like to have like action items and like things to do and that sort of thing. And so for me personally, so for me and my manager, managing up to my manager, it's been about being clear about what I can and can't deliver, and when and how I can and can't deliver what's required of me, you know, in my job function. So early in the pandemic here in Boston, we had, I don't know, maybe 4 to 8 weeks where we had our son home, and we hadn't really decided if we were going to kind of get, you know, like a nanny at home to help. And so, you know, I was just very explicit, you know, tactical me about like, you know, I'm going to be working from like 8 to midnight some days, and like not other days, and sort of like being pretty clear about what I could and couldn't do and when and how I would deliver. You know, and that's maybe not always the case. Maybe people don't always have that flexibility, but again, you'd be surprised, I guess. I was surprised when I first became a mother, even before the pandemic, about how readily accepting people were of my demands, if you will, so that I could try to create the space to both work and be a mother. And I personally don't believe in like having it all kind of thing, because I don't, and I really fail at that. My husband would laugh at me if I tried to tell people that. But I do think that there's things that you can do to try to kind of, you know, tactically carve out space for yourself, both professionally and personally. So that's something that I did, and I continue to do with some of the folks on my team who struggle a lot. You know, I have a younger kid, and I'm like, oh, that's the worst. You know, I have a toddler at home, and that's really hard to do while you're working. But I actually think that the folks at home who have to do, you know, now become a teacher and do homeschooling with older kids is, I mean, that's like something that makes my mind blow. So everyone's story is kind of different, and we don't always know what people have going on behind the scenes. And so, to the extent that you're comfortable sharing and like being vulnerable with either, your management that you report up to, or, people that you manage as well, just try to set those boundaries so that you don't feel that kind of like mental anguish and conflict that Tamsin talked a lot about too, because then you're just sort of piling it onto your brain. You're creating new things to stress out about and new things that you have to sort of mentally block and push through. So from a tactical standpoint, that's what I like to try to do. And it's really hard, but the rest, like Tamsin said, is to try to like let it go and forgive yourself. Like this is unprecedented times, and anyone who has sort of a kernel of humanity in them will certainly be able to recognize and acknowledge that.
I love that. I love that concept of let it go and forgive yourself, because sometimes we spend so much of our time regurgitating stuff that's happened that we think we got wrong, where we think we made mistakes. I think just learning to forgive yourself. Now, Tamsin, this is, we don't put you on the spot now, because I don't think we discussed this question, but I remember listening to you talk a while ago. You mentioned something about, I know what it feels to lose everything. Yeah. And I'm just wondering if there's something to learn there, for a lot of women, especially when we talk about our different lives in perfection, for some women, I've certainly had conversations with women who have said, this has been the best year of my life. This has been the best year for my kids, my family, for my career. I've also had conversations, well, it's been a challenge. And then I've had conversations with people who have said, actually, I've lost everything. I've lost my job. I've lost my, good health. I've lost, what are some of the words that you might have, Tamsin, for someone who's on this call today and thinking, oh, I've lost everything. Where do I actually start from? What would you say to them?
Oh, I'm afraid I'm a bit of a tough love person, because I believe in, you can't give someone a hand out, jump in a pity party and have a pity party with them. You need to pull them up with a rope. And so what someone, I would say, who's in that situation needs around them is someone who is going to pull them up and not accept the victim. And I know that sounds really tough, but we can easily I have easily fallen into that victimhood of poor me. And when I'm looking for the last 20p in my handbag 6 years ago, when I completely didn't know which way was up, I finally asked for help. And, I'm just saying that you can't solve a problem on your own. You can't solve these problems. You can solve them mentally. We can start to train our brain to think of possibilities. Using that technique, I guarantee, to look at what if I could make this happen? What if I could get myself out of this? Starts your mind psychologically, naturally, your brain starts to look for ideas of how to get out of that situation, instead of dwelling on what you haven't got. I mean, we've all probably seen all the self-help books around this. So I'd say, yeah, find someone who's going to pull you up and not allow you to jump back down into the pit.
That is so true. Now, one final question for both of you. Showing up online is something that, a lot of women have been talking about, certainly even within network, even for myself, is one thing to do the work I do. When you've got people in the room, you can kind of establish relationships and all of that. But sometimes it's difficult to bring your power online. It's just really difficult to actually show up with that power, with that intention, when you're online. So what are some of the tips that you have for just maintaining your power, maintaining your gravitas and your relevance, even in an increasingly digitalized world?
Can I just jump in there just to quickly say something before, because I mean, Sarah needs some space because I've taken up a long time, but I just wanted to say that overwhelm can disempower us. Clearly, what Sarah was saying about carving out time, but being very clear about your boundaries, is what we women tend to do. Is we tend to say yes to everything, and no, we don't say no to things that we should say no to. And we're then are a victim of our own success because everyone gives us everything to do. Is that true, Sarah?
And I think one of
everybody.
Thank you so much, Tamsin. I see Sharon has just shared that, I lost everything overnight, but working towards getting it all back. Now, if there is any way that you think we can support Sharon, if there's anyone you'd like to reach out to, listen, I'm sure everybody on this call wants to help. I certainly want to help. As much as we also need help, we're able to still give back. So please don't be shy to articulate anything that you think someone somewhere on this network might be able to offer. Sarah, what would you say would be your tips for maintaining your power online?
It's a funny one for me because as a fairly senior manager, I sort of hold some explicit power, if you will, in terms of sort of like people tend to defer to me in calls depending on who's in the call and things like that. So I see it go both ways depending on sort of who I'm talking to. But for me, I've actually started to sort of like flex different styles. So I have found that all of us being virtual, and we talked a little bit about this with Tamsin when we met before, DK, about it sort of levels the playing field in a lot of ways, because I'm not, I don't have to go, and I was a psychology undergrad, so I don't have to be in a conference room sort of like taking up big space to make myself be, seen and heard as a woman. I'm here. But it also means, and it's so funny because here in America, yes, we are some of us are very obsessed with Kamala Harris, but watching her in the debate was so triggering to me when she was like, I'm talking, so in a way, a lot of the work from home Zoom calls and the specific tool that we at Amazon use, it actually has like a virtual hand raise. So we have a lot of good practices that we're trying to sort of like level that playing field through even our technology to sort of like cue people up because they have to click a button to raise their hand. It's not just like, hey, who's the loudest and, taking up the most space to sort of like be heard and seen. So that's actually kind of nice. And for me, that's been nice because I've found, and this is true to what Tamsin was talking about before, and something I always struggle with is like sort of how to lead and be authentically me that isn't necessarily emulating masculinity or sort of like male leadership traits. And so I can be a little bit more myself because I'm not going into conference rooms trying to like, I'm a petite person. So I don't know that you guys can tell that over, Zoom, but it's hard to sort of like make yourself physically present when you're a petite person, or if you are more introverted, and I am a more introverted leader. And so I've actually found it to be quite refreshing. But I know that there are other challenges because it depends on the technology, right? You may be in a place where your Wi-Fi stinks at home, and that's a challenge. And that's where I also say, demand that your company pay for it, get it upgraded. Like if they want you there and they want you at the table, like I also actually did that this year, and Amazon paid for me to have some of my Wi-Fi at home updated. So, there's different things, and then it kind of comes from where you are and depends on that. But, for me, it's been at least a personal kind of playing field for me to kind of like flex my leadership style and explore leading more authentically as sort of like a feminine leader versus a, emulating masculine leader. And that's been really nice. I'm excited to see what happens with that as we go back to the office in like a year.
And I think one of the things that I really appreciate about your style, Sarah, is that you've alluded to it just now, saying that you're an introvert, and there is sometimes a lot of pressure on people that are slightly, more introverted than the others to kind of assume the leadership personalities of extroverts and, do all of that. So I think what you're saying around just staying in that power and just being yourself is so powerful. Like you don't have to lead like, you don't have to be the next Kamala Harris or the next anything. You can just be the original you, yeah? So Tamsin, one final question before we wrap this up. A lot of women are looking to pivot. Business ideas are coming up, people are and I think what's going to happen at the end of going on Tamsin's program or your interactions with Tamsin, and I can tell you I've been a victim of this, is greatness, right? You're going to dig deeper and you eventually find something. But what advice would you give, Tamsin, for someone, I quit my corporate career at the beginning of this year, just before lockdown started. Best decision ever, right? Timing wise, great. But it's such a fearful thing. But what advice would you give anyone who's thinking of pivoting and starting a new venture? What advice? One word, Tamsin.
Action. is the biggest word. I would say, as I said earlier, don't wait for opportunities to come your way. Seek them. And this is something that two very senior people said to me once. I said, how did you get to where you are in your position? They said, well, I had no plan. It's just that I found a problem to solve. And then I convinced the person that I was the person to solve the problem. You become more invaluable then. So saying, if you want to stand out amongst the crowd, you've got an idea, seek those opportunities, but it takes action.
It takes action, yes. Thank you. And I think sometimes you think it won't happen and you think nobody will buy this, nobody will pay for it. But actually, there's always somebody who's going to pay for it.
You have to fail forwards.
Oh, that's another thing. Yes.
And that power of three is for the best way of failing forward.
Yeah, you're so right. And failing fast as well, because that failure is inevitable. Yeah. You'll make mistakes, yes. But I certainly think, no matter what it is you're trying to start or do, people will pay for it. You just have to find those people. But there is always somebody somewhere.
Absolutely have to speak up. Sorry, Duke.
No, I think you're saying all the right things. Go for it, Tamsin. Just go for it. Keep the inspiration flowing.
You have a voice.
So speak up.
In the right way, and it's not aggressive and shouty, isn't it? As Sarah was saying, you don't have to be kind of like this. You can be powerful.
Yeah, by being authentic. So speak up, just go for it. Yeah. So action, just do it. Put it out there. If you've got any new ideas, do anything that you're interested in sharing with the world, just do it. Wow, what a way to close 2020. One final word, Sarah, for everyone as we go into, well, another year. We don't know what it's going to happen or what it's going to bring, or what do you want to leave us with today?
You can do it. We can do this. We can do hard things and we can dive deep. We can reparent ourselves. A lot of us have, I'll speak about myself. I don't want to project on other people, but, I have my own sort of inferiority complexes or imposter syndromes, but we can reparent ourselves and we can do this and we can create positive space in our minds for ourselves. There's multiple different definitions of success and we get to control that with our mind and our sort of spirit or soul. So, definitely I think my one word would be hope and sort of just strength. We can do this.
We can do this. Thank you. And good luck to you, Sarah. I'm sure.
Thank you.
By this time next year, when you're on the call again, we'll see a little sister.
Oh my God, I know.
And Tamsin, one final word.
Oh, inspiration. That is the beginning, the middle, and the end for me. It's to go out and inspire yourself. And in turn, you'll inspire others, and it's uplifting for everybody. We all, that rising tide raises all ships.
Yes, a rising tide raises all ships. That is so true. Wow, you know what? You ladies have really inspired me. I intended to go to bed after this session today, but I will stay in this office and try to keep on pushing myself because I couldn't have just survived that and just go back to, chillaxing. It's time to work. It's time to act. It's time to finish with a bang and finish strong. Thank you so much, everyone who's been part of today's forum. Please subscribe if you're not a member of the network already, so that when we release the 2021 program of events and all the amazing things we're going to be doing, you'll be the first to know. And if you need anything, just reach out to us. I'm just going to drop the sister email address here, and we will.
Can I just jump in very quickly before you have the final
jump in?
Just two things. One is everything that comes in terms of revenue, in terms of bookings, 5% of it goes to SmartWorks Reading, just so you know. And somebody was asking me in private chat about how do they book on that half-day workshop. Email me, tamsin@rawtalksacademy.com.
Yeah, so that's tamsin@rawtalksacademy.com. Although when you get the post-event email, you see all of Tamsin's details.
Lovely to see everybody. Really.
Thank you so much, ladies. Good luck, and let's finish 2020 strong. I'll be rooting for everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye. Stay safe. Stay safe. Bye. Thank you so much, everyone, for commenting, for being part of the conversations. Couldn't have done it without you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good to see you, Lena. Thank you. Bye, Sharon. Hi, Sarah Brandis. Good to see you. Hi, Lillian. Lillian, I will call you. I shall. It's good to see everyone. So good to see you all again. Bye. Bye, Joella. Bye, Ellen Ramsey. Bye, Karen. Bye, Fumilayo. Bye, Roan Care. It's good to see Anita. I can't quite see you, but it's good to see that you're on the call. Bye, Sarah Shava. Bye, Sarah. I can see the Oxford landmark behind you. Bye, Danielle. Bye, Shalaye. Bye, Taiwo. Elle, Ethel, Joe, Ibim, Taiwo, Susan, yeah, Rachel. Yes, bye, Han, bye. See you guys. Good luck and please stay safe. Please stay safe. Bye, ladies. Bye-bye. Bye-bye-bye-bye. Bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so very much. Bye, Karen. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Should we just stay on the call, Tamsin, for a quick, you were amazing. All right, just gonna wait for everyone else.
See everybody.
I know, it's just, you know what, that's just so brilliant and so inspiring. Tamsin, you're amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing.
It's lovely to there's so many, I think, inspirational women out there.
I know, it's just, wow. Wow. Oh, hi, Roan Care. I can't see you, but I can see your smiley face on your DP. Oh.
Do you know, there's, you know, women that I come across that who, you know, they really, and I'm sure some of them are on the call today.